Rolling. What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards, and welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. This podcast can be found or listened to at allthingscomedy.com. And if you go to allthingscomedy.com, you'll see a host of other comics there doing their own podcasts, like Bill Burr, Bert Kreischer, Bobby Lee, Tiger, Belly, and Kate Quigley, Date Fails, Danish and O'Neill, Sam Tripoli. The name and the list of names go on. If you watch the Comedy Store documentary, almost everybody from the Comedy Store has a podcast at allthingscomedy.com. So don't just listen to my podcast there, listen to theirs too. And also my podcast can be watched on YouTube if you're just listening. So you could type in Ian Edwards or Ian Soccer Comic Rant Edwards to like and subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast if you feel like you're being informed and entertained, and enjoy the podcast on a weekly basis. And what else? Our sponsor is onthevolleyapparel.com. And if you go to onthevolleyapparel.com, they have tanks, hoodies, sweatshirts, and t-shirts with soccer/hip-hop emblems and logos on the front. And they can also outfit your local soccer team. I just heard some feedback. That's why I paused for a second. Now it's gone so good. So go to onthevolleyapparel.com and use my promo code ComicRant. You get 20% off, all right? And I have on one of the shirts right now. I don't know if you can see all of it. This is one of the sweatshirts. It's getting to be sweatshirt weather, so I got On the Volley Apparel Tribe Called Quest sweatshirt on. Check that out. All right. And my guest for today, it'll just be, before I bring in Martin, I want to thank Aaron Brungardt, the producer from All Things Comedy, for hooking us up. And now I'll introduce you to our guest, Martin W. Polish. He roots for Spurs. Harris, he's also a writer for the soccer magazine 442. And seen him in a bunch of movies. One of the latest movies he's been in is The Hunt. And he's also the voice in a lot of video games. So you could kill him legally if you play those video games. So what up, Martin? How you feeling?
Hey. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. So you should kind of feel good about how you did in the Premier League this week and how you did in Europa League during the week, right?
Yep.
How you feeling? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's almost a mirror image to the conversations we had back in, I believe, 2015. Because I kind of recalled the podcast we did when we started doing podcasts, 2015, when the season started kind of poorly for Tottenham. And I was a little bit dismissive, and I wasn't sure if the thing with Pochettino is working or will work. And you said that there are actually glimpses that the Tottenham is playing pretty good football. And then they went on a winning streak, and they were competing for the title almost till the end. So I see glimpses of that right now. They also didn't start the season very well, but I would say the team is pretty strong. I think we have pretty good deep bench. Dele Alli, I think in 2 or 3 games didn't make even the game roster, so he wasn't even in the game physically. So the fact that we have competition for places, that we have some star power right now, that we have 2 guys who are amazing together with Son and Kane, and that we were able to win another competitive game away from our stadium, that's very good. The home form needs to improve, and with that, if that happens, then we have a chance.
I mean, every team is not a reliable team right now. You know, it's just the way last season ended, the time last season ended, the amount of transfer window, the amount of rest, and the amount of preseason, has thrown every team kind of out of their rhythm. Every team has defensive problems, which I mentioned last year. And now, especially after Champions League, last week, I was like, Liverpool is still the best team defensively, but they lost their replacement defender to their original number one defender in the country, like Fabinhio, walked off the field in a Champions League match today injured, and it seems like he'll be out for a month. We're not sure about that yet. So now you should even feel better about Spurs' position in the table. You guys are fifth, and you have 11 points. You're in double figures. I don't you lost one game, but
you lost the first game, yes.
Yeah, you lost the first game, but yeah, you're in a good position.
Then we kind of lost the West Ham game because like conceding 3 goals in 8 minutes at the end was almost like losing a game.
Yeah, that's definitely basically losing a game. But you guys are in a good position. But I just brought up Spurs just to introduce you. I guess the first game we should talk about this week is the marquee game of the week, and there's not much I have to say about it. Is Man United versus Chelsea.
You mean 2 mid-table teams?
Yeah, 2 mid-table teams. But you know what? You're giving us too much credit. We're not mid-table teams, bro. Manchester United is in 15th place, so we are not. Wow. We aspire to be a mid-table team.
Next to one more game to play against City, right?
Chelsea. So we tied with a mid-table team. So, you know, we did good for a bottom of the table team to tie with a mid-table team. We did it pretty good. But yeah, we still have one game in hand
against City. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and we've, you know, you could say against City, but we've beaten City. We've beaten all the. Our problem is dropping points and if you look at how we've done earlier in the season, we've dropped points against teams we should have beaten. This is Chelsea's the first game we should have had trouble winning, and we got a point. So yeah,
it was a strange game because you can make argument for both sides. Technically, playing football-wise, Man U I think had better chances and dominated the game, I would say, more, but there was a clear penalty that it wasn't called on Maguire. And if that happens, if there is a penalty and Chelsea goes up 1-0, that's a different story. So you can make a case for both teams, where Man U technically played better football, but they were also lucky at the same time because that was a Stonewall penalty.
Yes, and I'm going to try to find this thing. I'm going to go on, see if I can log on to Twitter. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And
because sometimes penalties like that, and we were the victim of that situation, that in our game against Newcastle, we were completely dominant. We gave them nothing the whole game, and then we conceded a very stupid and debatable penalty in the stoppage time, which led to the end result being 1-1. So technically, it was unjustified result based on the way we played, but that is what it is. And it could have been the case also in that game where Man U technically played better football, and Mendy saved Chelsea, especially in the second half. If that was Kepa instead of Mendy, you could make an argument that probably Man U would have won. But at the same time, if Chelsea scores from penalty and then they lock the gates, and Man U doesn't like the positional attack, they don't like to be the attacking side, they like to be counter-attacking side, or at least half-half, you can make the case Chelsea could have won. So,
no, but you like to make cases, and you know what happened is what happened. Like, you guys were up 3-0 last week, and you lost tied, and that's what actually really happened. And
I was talking about the Newcastle game.
And then in this game, if Chelsea had gotten that penalty, man, you would have made the adjustments. Like, the people we put on later on in the game, we probably would have put them on earlier and gave us even a better chance of like getting that equalizer back. I do admit that it was a penalty. I'm just trying to find this thing right now on my computer, because I don't know if you saw it, but Maguire clapped back at all that Lampard noise. And where is this thing? I have to find it. I think Lloyd sent it to me. So let me see if I can find it. So I can't see it right now.
Mhm.
But what Harry Maguire posted was a picture of. He posted a picture of what's his name, James. What's the young Chelsea right back, James Reece James.
James. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, uh, hugging him in the penalty box, insinuated that, yeah, that could have been a penalty, but also this could have been a penalty too that nobody called. So we're even. So I can't find the Harry Maguire post right now of him like showing the picture of Reece James hugging him, and that could have been a penalty. But since you want to talk about what ifs, that is my what if for you. What happened is Man United started the season kind of out of sorts, and we're slowly getting our stuff together. And it's not just about results, but it's like earning those results, because I don't think we earned the result that we got against Brighton Hove. They definitely outplayed us. But now with the Newcastle game and the PSG game, and even this game against Chelsea, which has such a great offense, we are kind of like getting back into what we need to be. And we're also taking chances. Solskjaer's not starting the people you would expect him to play. He's starting the people who he thinks would give him the results that he needs, regardless of who's on the bench. And then he brings in Pogba, who is not in shape enough and is not hungry enough to start the game. Like, I agree with that. I love Pogba, but he's not like Fred was all over the place in this game. Like, there was a point in this game, I was like, how many Freds do we have? Because I would see Fred like rescuing the ball at one area of the field, and then Chelsea would kick the ball down to our end, and then Fred would pop up down there. I'm like, how did he get from that side of my screen to that side of my screen without me even seeing him? It's like, do we have 5 Freds? So like, Fred doesn't always make the best decision when he gets the ball, but he's basically a technical foul for us. He's a technical foul that doesn't get called because he's not making a dirty technical foul tackle, but he's showing up to stop the offense of the other team at the right point and the right time. And you will only realize his effectiveness if he wasn't there to do the things that he was doing. So, like against Brighton Hove, we were dominated in the midfield, and with Fred in there and McTominay, like 2 like younger like guys who, I'm not even gonna say they're athletic, but they're just like all over the place. And McTominay's passing is getting better. Like, it's not on a Matic level yet, but it's getting better. So yeah, we just have to figure out a place to maybe play Pogba when we have those 2 guys on the field and Fernandez, but we'll figure it out. Or Pogba has to get in better shape, but he has to contribute more when he's out there. And I know he's good for us attacking, but for France and for when he played for Juventus, he did both, and that's what we want from him. And I can see why your coach now, Mourinho, had issues with him. You know what I mean? But
yeah. 3 games out of starting lineup. That's almost a pattern. How do you like Cavani? How did you like his first game?
Man, Cavani's first touch was almost a Manchester United goal, man. That would have been crazy. Like, it was just crazy enough it hitting the side of the net, but that would have been amazing. But yeah, I told you, like, the top forwards in the world, they keep themselves in playing shape. Being in your mid-30s doesn't mean what it used to mean 10 years ago in football.
Yeah, he's 33, I guess.
Yeah, he's 33. He's younger than Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's younger than Ibrahimovic, who's still scoring.
Same age.
Same age as what?
Messi.
As Messi. So all those, and I think, how old is Lewandowski?
32.
32. So you're in that age range. You're not retiring anymore. You're
scored
still
12 goals in like 6 games for Bayern.
Right. Yeah. So So I believe in Cavani. I feel like Man U are we have all the pieces. We just have to like figure out the formula for each style of team that we play, and it's going to take this season to figure out what that formula is for each type of team that we play, and get the most results. I still feel like back in the day when Ferguson was a coach, I for the most of Ferguson's career, I felt confident, like of how we looked on paper. And then I was confident that how we looked on paper would translate to how we played on the field. Now, Ollie's lineup, I'm not 100% confident with how we look on paper, which also doesn't make me 100% confident with how we play on the field, but time will tell and make me more confident or less confident. Like this season is really going to be like a telling season for Manchester United, for Ollie, and what we're going to do from this point on. But I'll take the tie against Chelsea because I have no confidence of how we look on paper. But we just have like a rough week of games. We got Leipzig tomorrow, and then we have Arsenal, who's coming off a loss, who definitely don't want to have 2 losses in a row. I don't want to have 2 ties in the league in a row. And so we'll see what happens. But,
yeah, Arsenal a dangerous team for you guys for sure, because they like to attack with their wings and they're an attacking team. And but at the same time, you can maybe play the counter-attacking football against them. So could work.
Yeah, it could work. Yeah, we'll see what. Like last week, Arsenal played Xhaka as a defender. As a central defender. And I think they had a back 3. So everybody's going through some shit, and maybe we could take advantage of it.
But, yeah, because they tried to clearly Arteta likes Xhaka, but at the same time he had to make place for the new guy they bought, Partey.
Yeah.
They can't play them at the same position, so he had to find a new position for Xhaka so they can incorporate both of them. Because I can tell he clearly likes Xhaka because he kind of reinvigorated.
He revived his career. He put the defibrillator. He put the defibrillator on his career after that match where he walked off the field and just told the Arsenal fans to go kiss his ass. Like he determined in that game was going to be his last Arsenal game, and Arteta came through and was like clear, and then brought him back like the Undertaker. So yeah, I don't believe in Xhaka like that. I don't see why Arteta is in love with him like that, but fine. That's on Arsenal. I'm not an Arsenal fan.
I mean, partially it's also that he doesn't really have that many options comparing to Man U or even Tottenham. They're not very good team on paper. And I said it a couple of weeks ago. I think I was discussing with Neil. I said, I don't see them finishing higher than 8th.
Who, Arsenal?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Now that they got Partey, and you're a Spurs fan, so I got to take that with a like. I can't take that as seriously. I think they're as dangerous or almost as dangerous as you guys.
No, we're better.
All right.
We have more quality. There's more quality players. They have clear gaps and holes on their team. But we'll get to Arsenal. I want to say a few words about Chelsea. Unfortunately for you guys, the Mendy was healthy for the game, because if Kepa is playing that game, I think we would have won the game. This last shot, I think, was Rashford, right? I think Kepa wouldn't be able to keep it.
Yeah, I listen. Kepa made mistakes. He didn't not save goals that he wasn't supposed to save. He just made mistakes that he wasn't supposed to make. So, he might have saved that. He may not, but we'll never know. Kepa saved it. I mean, Mendy saved it, and the score remains 0-0. I just like how we created chances. We ended up with the ball more. We had 14 shots, same amount of passes, same amount of pass accuracy. But we just looked better in a bad game. It's very type of game. Like we definitely played like 2 mid-table, bottom of the table teams. So we
Yeah,
get
Chelsea's still building. You can tell that they're still in the building blocks. But so far, I mean, the start of the season is kind of below expectations. You might say they were lacking a lot of goals before this game. Here, clean sheet finally, but they didn't do that much offensively. Since Hazard left, they didn't find that guy who would break the defense by himself. I think they hope Havertz will be that guy.
right.
They play Werner sometimes out wide, and Werner is more, I think, of a finisher and should be playing up front. Yeah, I mean, Lampard still doesn't know his team that well in terms of he doesn't know what's his best team. And if that continues, especially in that football club where owner is not known for his patience, the loyalty to Frank, who has been there and won trophies, might not be as huge as we could think. So if they're not, if Frank Lampard has a clear homework to do, if he doesn't pick things up within the next, I would say, 2 months, he could be in trouble.
2 months is enough. I mean, Frank would be happy to have 2 months to figure this out. You know what I mean? Because it's going to take around at least 2 months. And everybody was looking at the beginning of the season, look at what Chelsea bought. But sometimes you look at the presence you have. It's like when you're in a relationship and you're buying the person you're in a relationship with gifts, but you're covering up the cracks in your relationship. And Chelsea definitely has cracks in their relationship as far as their defense. And they fixed the Kepa part of it, but they still got a lot of offensive players. Even one of the defenders they bought, Chilwell, is offensive minded. You know what I mean? So they just need time to figure it out. In 2 months, yeah, you got 2 months to figure it out. That's a reasonable amount of time. But yeah,
Mendy looked good. It looks like a good buy. It looks like finally someone reliable.
Let's just say Mendy looks better than Kepa.
Yeah,
let's just say that.
Athletic, fit, well built, tall, good instincts. I like his performance in this game.
And a hater. So all the things you need in your goalkeeper. You want your goalkeeper to be a hater to the other squad when they take good shots and he stops them. So he did that. And Manu will take the 1 point and creep into this game against Arsenal this weekend after Leipzig. Another game I'd like to go to is Aston Villa versus Leeds. That game was played on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the same type of game that Leeds played against Wolves last week, but they lost 1-0. But they just relentlessly attacked Aston Villa in the same way. But this time, Leeds got the result. And I just want to say their amazing player, hat-trick Bamford, scored 3 goals, bro.
Incredible story, because it's the most criticized player they had in the championship. The opinion was that Bielsa constructed the team full of really talented players, and they have this one guy up front who doesn't know how to score goals. That was the championship, right? So a level below, he was criticized for being clinical.
So let me ask you a question. Didn't he score goals in the championship?
He did, but not enough. I think he scored 14 or 15 goals, which is for the 4-game season, not that great. And he was missing chances, and everybody was saying they have to replace him. So that's why they also bought another striker, because the opinion from most of the pundits was that that's the weakest link, Bamford. Right. And somehow Bielsa was, I like the guy. I want to give him a shot in the Premier League, and he gave him a shot, and he's actually playing better in the Premier League than he did in the Championship.
Well, I think Aston Villa started off the game good. Jack Grealish showed his quality at certain points in the game. Barkley.
Oh my God!
So what?
When he dribbled past the whole team, amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And then Barkley showed you why he's Barkley, and not in a good way.
He's not a Charles Barkley.
So what? He's not
Charles Barkley.
He's not even a Charles Barkley. He's Barkley. He's gonna give you some good shit one week, and he's gonna give you the other shit that you didn't buy him for the next week. But just Leeds in a whole, they just like treated Aston Villa as if Aston Villa was the team that just got promoted and they're the team, the Leeds that were in the league in the early 2000s and were trying to batter the team that just came up and let them show them what it's like being in the Premiership. Like roles are definitely reversed. As far as Bamford's first goal, normal goal, you know, it's a normal goal. It's a rebound off the goalkeeper. You put it in the back of the net. But his next two goals. Now, if he'd have scored one goal, like the way he scored one, only one of the goals of the next two goals was like both goals were similar. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's something about the way he got power and placement with no backswing on both goals in a tight space with both goals shows me some other shit that I've never even seen from some of the best players in the world. Like that third goal, how he was surrounded, leans one way, doesn't lift his leg backwards to slam it into the ball, but gets maximum power out of like a golf shot and places it in the left side of the net. And the other shot was in the right, the one before that was on the right side. It's just like, how do you do that with no room and no backswing? And then if you're going to be able to do that in these tight spaces, then I'm worried about anybody who has to face Leeds in the rest of the league. Good luck.
Yeah, they are an adventurous team for sure. They are the Sheffield United of this season. They're the surprise package. There's always one surprising team. It was Wolverhampton 2 years ago. It was I would say Burnley 3 years ago, Wolverhampton 2 years ago, and Sheffield United last year. And this year it's Leeds, and they're well coached. They know exactly what they want to play. They know their style. They're still not being fully figured out by the competition because they're a new concept to the Premier League football. Nobody plays like them in the Premier League. So they will surprise people. I don't think they can finish top 6, but they can finish top 10.
Yeah, they can finish top 10. They keep
I
doing
don't
what they're
think they'll
doing.
get relegated. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, they're not. Like there's teams that like Norwich tried to play like this, but they didn't know how to defend as well. And it's an art to be able to attack somebody and also defend. Like Villa didn't get any goals, and Villa's been scoring like crazy. Ask Liverpool, and Villa didn't get any goals. Leeds didn't give it up. Now Leeds is giving up goals, but this match just shows how much they're growing. This time they got 3 goals, and they didn't let any in. The other games they've let in 3 goals before, but they had to win by 4 or they lost by. So now they're learning to score goals and not give goals up. So there's definitely a lot of growth. Like Chelsea. Chelsea had to not score any goals to not give up any goals, right? Like Chelsea's like, we're scoring goals, but we're giving up a lot of goals. So now, like Chelsea almost shuts down their ability to score to prevent the other team from scoring on them. Leeds is like, nah, we're gonna figure out how to keep scoring and how to win and not give up any goals and have a clean sheet. So good for Leeds.
And it's good for football because listen, you want to see those big clubs that were in disarray for a while to come back and make an impact. There are a bunch of clubs like that I want to see in the Premier League eventually at some point. Blackburn Rovers, I remember when they were in the Champions League when they won the title in I believe 1994 or 94, yes, 1994. I think they won the title. I want to see Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. I want to see Sheffield Wednesday at some point, teams that I grew up watching.
All right, maybe you get your wish, maybe. I'm just gonna go down this list. West Ham versus Man United.
Man City.
Man City versus West Ham, yeah.
Well, listen, there are cracks. There are cracks on Man City this season for sure. And knowing that he spent again a lot of money and just bought an extra defender lately, it's not a good look for Guardiola.
Yeah, I just don't think. I'm telling you, man. Like Guardiola does not have the eye of the tiger of coaching the way he had it a few years ago. And last year was like, maybe it's just a blimp. Company left and their main defender got injured a lot. And you're like, all right, maybe it's on that. But now I think one of the mistakes he's making is he keeps changing his forward lineup up a lot. He's not playing Bernardo Silva, who I think is more effective than Mahrez. And now his company's gone. His main defender's injured again. He's got like these three new defenders that who knows if they're really good. Only time will tell. But to be good, you also got to make mistakes to get good. And those mistakes are going to cost them games. And hey, just want to also just give a shout out to West Ham for getting a point and Mikel Antonio for scoring an amazing goal with the defender applying the Maguire chokehold on him. But this time it was a full Nelson. You ever score a bicycle kick from a full Nelson position? Well, Mikel Antonio has done that.
Okay. Compare physics of Azpilicueta and Antonio. It doesn't surprise me at all. Antonio is a big guy. Azpilicueta is not a strong guy. No,
so you're saying Mikel was asking for it?
No, I'm saying that he could handle it. Whereas if Azpilicueta was built as Antonio, maybe he would have scored. Needs to go to the gym. Azpilicueta, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he needs to go to the gym then. Let him go to the gym. But great result for West Ham. And then West Ham is just picking up points and doing their thing. And Man City is dropping points. And who knows? Maybe this is who they were last season, and now they are like this season. Maybe this is who they really are. They're a beatable team. And for some reason, their attack is not as potent as it used to be. And their defense is definitely not as good as it used to be. And therefore, they are beatable.
Yeah, Aguero is always injured. He's not dependable anymore because he's always has problems with injuries. I would say Gabriel Jesus is a good player, but I don't see that he developed much over the last 2-3 years. I see him pretty much being the same level as he was 3 years ago, where you were expecting that he will make the leap to this next level, and I don't see that he made that leap. Partially maybe because he was never a first-team choice on like consecutive months. He was always in and out, kind of the starting lineup, which is understandable when you have a competitive team. But at the same time, I would have expected a little bit more from him, which doesn't mean that he's a bad player, but just a little bit more. On the other hand, West Ham kind of started a discussion in the last couple of days, or maybe even more than last couple of days, who really David Moyes is, because we have to go back through his timeline. He was a very well-regarded coach and manager at Everton. Like, he did a very good job, and then the menu job happens. He doesn't even last a single season, and his reputation is being destroyed. So some people are saying, well, he really is not a bad coach, and he's showing that right now. He got a little bit more time finally.
But he had failures. He had failures after Man U, though, right?
Yeah, but it's Real Sociedad. I think he just made bad decisions of taking jobs he shouldn't be taking.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe
I would have advised that he not take this job also, but now he's turning it into something. So, we'll see it. Like, I'm not gonna say Moyes. Like, I was always surprised that he couldn't pull it together after he got fired from Man U, and I was like, all right, maybe shot coach, it's over. But maybe we'll see what's what. And I think also people and pundits are jumping the gun. Like, this is so early in the season, and we like last season Watford, I think they had like 4 wins at the beginning of the season, and they got relegated. So it's just too early. And West Ham don't even have 4 wins, but they're getting results. So we just got to see.
Yeah, I was watching the documentary about Comedy Store, and there was a moment where Mark Maron gives an interview, and he says, I was going through my second divorce, my career was over, and then this podcast gave me second life. So maybe David Moyes is Mark Maron of the Premier League. No,
you're saying maybe West Ham is his podcast?
Yeah.
We'll see. Watford, Crystal Palace, Fulham. I watched this game. It was pretty more entertaining than I thought it would be. Uh, uh, your boy Wilfred Zaha had a pretty good game, and he crashed into the post to score the winning goal of the game. Gave his all. Uh, Fulham scored an amazing goal. The goal they scored, you're like, it's funny to see an amazing goal like that in a team that can't score goals. But they definitely have, before the transfer window closed, they bought Lookman from a German team, and they got Loftus Cheek, and they do look better in attack now. Like before they could keep the ball and pass it around, but it's all sideways. Now Lookman looked like he's up for it, and it's a good buy for them. And we'll see if they can get more points from having these guys. But let's just say Fulham had their best loss all year. How about that with this result? 2-1 Crystal Palace.
I still don't believe in Fulham. I still think they're gonna go down, and probably as a first team in the Premier League, they're gonna go down. There's something wrong about that culture where they find ways to go up, and they make the same mistakes that they bring some big name signings. I mean, Lookman used to be technically one of the better players at his position in Europe, but I haven't heard of him lately. So now I hear that he's joining Fulham. Loftus Cheek, I mean, pretty decent name, but it doesn't look like, you see, like they make those last minute signings, they make those like big name transfers out of desperation, but I don't see any I would say solid foundation of building a team for few years at least. Like they're always adjusting, getting 5 players in, 6 players out, another couple of players in, another couple of players out, and they do it over and over again. It's what Einstein said, that if you make the same mistake again, that's proof of insanity. And for me, it's a proof of insanity for also for Fulham, because instead of doing what Leeds did, where they build a team and then maybe they're adding a piece here, piece there, they constantly changing, adding those players. And listen, like to build a good team, you need more than just quality on the field. There has to be a chemistry. There has to be also what a friend of mine told me once. Players are playing better, and the team is playing better when the players feel some sort of connection with the city they live in, with the club itself, with the fans, that they feel like they're part of it, not just paid workers. And it looked like Fulham, to me, looks like paid workers type of a team.
It's hard to feel like you're connected to anybody now if you're a player, because nobody's in the stadium. You're not connected to the people. Maybe when you go do a charity visit, maybe that.
Yeah, but you hear their opinions. But now with the social media, like you hear.
Yeah. But some players are smart and like, I ain't being on social media. I'm not gonna read all these terrible things. I just think Fulham has a better chance now of finishing. Let me see, it's 20, 19, 18. They have a better chance now of finishing 17th than they did before the transfer window closed. I'm not saying that they are going to do it, but they're a more interesting team with Loftus Cheek and Lookman. And if you watch Lookman play, like he goes at it. He creates chances. Like he's doing stuff on the pitch. Like he's actually just instantly the best player there, even better than Loftus Cheek. So we'll see. Like Fulham was a dull blade, and now at least like an edge of the blade is getting sharper with Lookman in there, and they might be able to cut something. That's all. Liverpool versus Sheffield. Liverpool wins 2-1. This was a really close match, man. Like Sheffield created some really good chances, but they didn't put them away. They got a penalty. Sheffield did. I don't think was a penalty, but they got it anyway. First of all, I don't think the player was in the box to be fouled. I thought it was just outside the box, and I don't think it was a foul. But they scored, and then Diego Jota is like paying off. Like what a good buy, because not only did he score today, but he scored also in the Champions League today. So like, and look at, and then this also makes my point. Like, look how much Jota went for, and look how much Crystal Palace was trying to get for Zaha, and Jota is better. So that just proves to me that
You think
Zaha
that
is
really?
overpriced.
You think he's better than Zaha, Jota?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the goals, like per season, they're in the same area, and they're in the same area. And then I'm looking at Jota's score in his 2 home games for Liverpool, and then score in the Champions League today. Yeah. Like he just needs. Jota's a better player because he'll fit in with this Liverpool thing that's going on and be a part of it. Zaha is too used to being an individual and the best player on a team. Yeah, Zaha would have to come from Crystal Palace for 80 million pounds and think he's a shit, and then have to either be on the bench and start and come in sometimes, and then not. Like, I don't see Sane throwing those tantrums that Zaha throws, or Salah. Like, they have top player mentalities. You know what I mean? Like, they're not like crying on every play or call that doesn't go their way. They try to do it. If it doesn't work, then they just keep it moving. Like, Zaha likes to stop and exasperate. Meanwhile, hey, there's a second chance there, and you're like, arms are up in the air. You're in rest mode. So. And Jota doesn't do that. He keeps going. He keeps playing. There's one more thing else I wanted to say about this game. Like, I feel. Let me just say something. I feel like, and he has no choice because he bought these players. He bought Minamino and he bought Shaqiri and all. And he did the same thing today in the Champions League, where Klopp tries to trust the players that he bought and put them in the position of Mane and Salah. Like, I feel like in the Liverpool versus Sheffield game, he subbed out some of his top players too early when the game was still in doubt. Sheffield was still kind of a threatening team, and to put in Minamino, like, and take out like a proven scorer, it's just risky. It's just risky when you could just keep everybody on the field that's used to scoring and just win the match outright. So, but if you don't trust your players and take a risk with them, you won't ever know. So I guess Klopp is doing the right job. Now, sorry, what were you going to say?
Just to the thing that you said about Zaha in Jota, where why I want to make a little distinction and kind of take Zaha's side a little bit, is the fact that Jota is on arguably one of the best, if not the best teams in the world. So he's surrounded by top level players, where Zaha is kind of stuck on a
but you're thinking
team.
Yeah, you're
so to fully understand. Like, let me just finish this. To fully understand,
your argument is based on your misunderstanding what I'm saying. So
I don't disagree with you.
You're like, I'm talking about Jota when he was on Wolves. Like, if I compare Jota, if I compare Jota on Wolves to Zaha on Crystal Palace, they give you the same amount of. You check the goals; it's pretty much the same amount of goals. So why is one cost more than the other?
Well, I mean, Wolves were much better than Crystal Palace, much better over the last 2-3 years, and he kind of looks like it's a team sort of built around him, the Crystal Palace, but the supporting parts are not quite there. So he has to do a lot by himself, and therefore he's kind of forcing his game a little bit. I would like to see Zaha. My point is, and that's like the main point, I would like to see Zaha on the top team, because he was obviously too young to make an impact at Man U when he had a chance to be at Man U. He was a teenager at the time. But I would like to see him on a good team to really see his potential, where he shows flashes at Crystal Palace, but at the same time, he's not surrounded by the players of the same quality or comparable quality to his.
To me, he's a flashes guy. He is what his career has shown you he is. Until he shows, he's a flashes guy, and I need a consistent player. And I feel like Jota will be more of a consistent player who cares about team and results more than trying to be this flashy guy, this shine the light on me guy. And I actually think that Crystal Palace is playing as a team, as playing pretty good as a team and pretty decent. Like I don't think they were in the relegation zone last year. Like they weren't like in danger of being deported to the league below. Like so yeah, like Wolves ended up having a better season, but Crystal Palace is not far behind them. But yeah, Klopp is taking some chances, man. He's walking a tightrope, But there are some players I do want to commend on Sheffield. Ampadu, I think he's a player on loan from Chelsea, and he looks like a great like holding midfielder, like great decision making. He's playing in the middle of the park. He's like so. I'd like to look out for him. And they started this player named Brewster. Sheffield did. He's a forward that they bought for 30 million from Liverpool, the team they were playing.
With the option of free buy. The Liverpool have the option to buy him back.
You have an option to buy him back, right? So, teenager. Yeah, and this guy, he was on the England's under 17 team that won the World Cup. So, but he was injured for like 18 months. So all the players that he was on par with, like they've established themselves in this 18 months and gotten onto different club teams in the Premier League, and he's like had this setback. So we'll see what happens to this guy's career through Sheffield. So just some stuff to look out for.
Yeah, I watched the game of obviously the best goal that was the goal that didn't happen, the Salah's goal. Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah.
And they made it through, and they still have some defensive problems, and those defensive problems will be there with Van Dijk out and now Fabinhio out. And so it's still an open season for everyone, I'm not as sure of Liverpool as I was last year. That's what I'm trying to say. They might be the best team in the league. They might be. And they probably should have won against Everton.
But now I have more doubts,
Yeah. But it's up for grabs. They're beatable. They're beatable.
They're beatable because now the defender who was going to back up Van Dijk, he got injured. So in the Champions League game. So now it's like, now they really thin back there. They put in some young kid today to back up Fabinho. And then Klopp didn't even start like Salah and Mane. But after Fabinho got injured, he put those guys in because he knew he had to strengthen the front if he couldn't strengthen the back. So at least they can get the goals to pad the deficiencies at the back. So, yeah.
And the penalty was really strange. And the VAR is a gift that keeps giving confusion every weekend, because it's really difficult to say right now. I mean, the whole idea of VAR was to clear those gray zones in the games, but right now I think it brought even more question marks, and at the same time it disrupts games for sometimes even 3-4 minutes.
I feel like it's like a blatant attempt to sabotage VAR so that they do away with it completely. Like this, the way VAR is working now, it can only be a sabotage job. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way this many accidents will happen with instant replay. I remember before VAR, you watch a game, and after the game, they show you the replays, and everybody who saw those replays, no matter what team you're on, would be on the same page. Now, we have referees to use this same technology in between games, and they're guessing things that weren't even on the table after seeing a replay. It's bananas. So I'm like, oh, so they're just trying to sabotage this. Like last year, I thought maybe they just need to get used to it. Now I'm like, oh no, they're trying to get rid of VAR. There's no way the referees like VAR, or else you would be doing way better with it. It's the only conclusion I can come to.
I agree.
Yeah, it's got to be a sabotage job. Southampton versus Everton. I tried to get Lee on the show because he's a Southampton fan, and after a shitty start to the season. Southampton is taking scalps, and they beat Everton, who had been undefeated all season. And yeah, Southampton, man, getting more points and rolling. They're gathering momentum.
Yeah, Danny Ings is showing that he's not only one season hero, as you would remember a guy like that on Swansea named Michu. There was a guy named Michu that scored like 20 goals in one season, and it never happened before or after for him.
Right.
So the Ings is, listen, he had 2 assists in this game because I have him on my fantasy team, so I keep track of it. And Ings is delivering. I mean, he found his home.
Right. Yeah, he had the assist to Ward Prowse. Ward Prowse made that switch on the throw-in and got the ball, banged it to Ings. Ings chipped it back to him. Boom. Ward Prowse back of the net. And then Ings did the cross to Adams. He took people down the line and crossed it from an impossible position. And Adams, boom, back of the net. So yeah, I felt like probably like what's his name, Richarlison, with that red card last week, which was a dumb red card for him to give. Richarlison just is like a fucking kid. Last week when he did that red card, he acts as if he was injured. No, motherfucker, you're gonna get this card no matter how long you lay there. And the referee's like, all right, I don't even know why the ref waits till the player sees him. Just give the red card and walk away, because I'm sure Richarlison would have got up sooner than he did, instead of waiting and trying to stall this thing out. And now Richarlison not being on the field this week definitely hurt his team this week. Like, and then another Everton player got a red card this week. So Ancelotti's got trouble because Luca Digne, who's been a pretty good player for them.
Yeah. A lot of points in fantasy league for sure.
Yeah. So if you got Digne.
Yeah, but here's what Wijnaldum said. Here's what Wijnaldum said a couple of days ago, asked by reporters. He said that Everton is playing like a little bit too aggressive. You know, like they take it even a step further, and it's unnecessarily, because it endangers other players, other teams' players. And it looks like it's not just one game. It looks that's the mentality Ancelotti installed, which doesn't surprise me, because he's from this old school Arrigo Sacchi, AC Milan type of Italian football of the 90s, late 80s. That's where he played. So he likes them to be physical, aggressive. He likes them to be the aggressors per se, but maybe sometimes it's a little bit too much, and the referee started paying attention. That's why the red cards are showing, because I remember the game against Liverpool that it could have been 2 red cards in this game. Right. It could have been 3 red cards in this game for Everton if Pickford was red carded, so because Gomez could have gotten a red card, and then Pickford could have gotten a red card. Now they actually did get 2 red cards, and they play very aggressive. They're tackling very hard. That's the strategy that can work. It worked at the beginning of the season. It worked against us, for example. But if the referee started paying attention, there might be a pattern here.
Their pattern, and they do play hard. The problem with them over the last few seasons before this is that they didn't consistently play hard. Now they are. But also, when you're learning how to do a thing, you don't always do it right. So maybe the more they play hard, the better they'll get at playing hard legally and being effectively playing hard legally, and they'll be fine. So we'll see. But they definitely escaped a red for Pickford last week, and now they got one. They still got one last week with Richarlison, and now they definitely got one with Digne. And let's see if they get any more cards, reds, in the weeks coming up. But yeah, Southampton and doing their thing. And let's see, Arsenal, Leicester City is Arsenal, Leicester going at it, and Leicester did not start Vardy because he wasn't fit, but they had a plan to put him on, give him like 20, 30 minutes, which they did. And then when he came on, so what?
All he needed.
So what?
I said that's all he needed.
Yeah, that's all he needed. Like they gave him Pogba time, 30, 20 minutes, put him on the field, and he got the winning goal. And Leicester beats Arsenal 1-0. They definitely played Arsenal.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, about Vardy and this situation, because the history of the Premier League shows one thing: that there are certain players that can guarantee you certain things. Like Vardy became one of these dependable players that he always scores certain amount of goals. He's always doubted somehow, but then he constantly does his job. And you can mention a bunch of those players like Dwight York, Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane, Teddy Sheringham. People who are dependable. Dion Dublin, yeah. So who are dependable every year. And yet teams sometimes are spending a lot of money to bring strikers that never played in the Premier League that show some promise that maybe they'll score 15, 20 goals, where there are players who do that every season, and Vardy's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, Vardy, he's won the league before. Last season, which ended 3 weeks ago. He won, was that the Golden Boot? And he's off to a good start this season. He got in the game. It changed the way how Leicester approached the game. They got more attacking. They got deeper into the Arsenal's defense, and they ran at him. They ran at him, turned them around, and split them, and started crossing on him, and that's how they scored. He changed everything. It's funny. It's like a lot of games go by how the forward runs. You know what I mean? Or how the forward, like if you're a forward that wants to like come and get the ball early, it wasn't the time to play that, because that played into Arsenal's hand. But when you wanted to like, hey, try to reach me, and let me stretch these guys out, and then if I get it, I can cross it to the, it caused a completely different set of problems that Arsenal wasn't comfortable to deal with when Vardy got on the field. And so, yeah, they won.
Yeah.
And they could have had another goal too. Could have been 2-0.
Exactly. And our Arsenal, as I said, I don't see enough quality for them.
Yeah, I see them getting better. This is the beginning of the season, and I'd rather face them now than later, when they get everything sorted out. Brighton versus West Brom, 1-1. That's exactly how that score should have been. West Brom getting better, creating some chances, and they got a point.
Yeah, we play Brighton next game, I believe, at our place, which is kind of a little scary because so far we didn't win a single game at home. But at the same time, we have to beat Brighton at home. Come on.
You have to beat Brighton, but Brighton be coming at people.
Yeah, and somehow their results are not showing that.
Right.
There should be better in the table, because they played some really good football this season, and somehow it doesn't show in results. I think they're underperforming result-wise, but performing pretty well field-wise.
Yeah, it's funny. Football is funny. It's like there's a lot of things you want to see. You want to see, you could perform and give up goals. So then you got to work on your defense. You can not give up goals and get clean sheets, but then have to figure out how to go forward. You can look good and just lose the whole game. Or you could look bad and win the games, and then you got to figure out a way to look good and win the games. And Brighton is looking good and not winning the games. So they have to figure out, do they want to stop looking good or figure out how to look good and win the games? So they got to make a choice, or they've made their choice, and we'll see if their choice works out for them. And hopefully they can beat you guys next week. But 1-1 against West Brom, who attacked them this week and looks better this week than they have in prior weeks. Trying to see who the goal scorer was. All right. And Tottenham versus Burnley.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about that first?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Another example of collaboration between Kane and Son. It's very encouraging to see that, because before it was more Dele Alli and Kane, like 4 or 5 years ago. It looked like that will be the duo, but the actors have changed. I mean, there's one actor in Kane that is still in the equation, but the other actor is Son, who is becoming the best player in the Premier League, in my opinion, this season.
Yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you you're not funny, man. Keep going. Finish your thing.
I mean, Højbjerg is very, very promising, and I think Mourinho finally starts to see what his favorite team will be like. I mean, he'll rotate, of course, especially in the Europa League, but I think he starts to see what would be the potentially on paper best team, and I think the best team on paper. And I hate myself for saying that, because at least one of those names I'm still not 100% sure about, and it's just the best we can do at the moment. So I think our best team is Lloris as a goalkeeper. Then from the left back and right back is Doherty. In some games, Aurier can make a difference when we have to push offensively, but I'll say Doherty, RB. Albi is Reguilon. In the back, Alderweireld with Dyer. And unfortunately, it's because Sanchez is so bad, because I would rather see, or maybe Ben Davies, who was tried in the Europa League. They tried him as a center back. Maybe he'll become a center back and play that position very well, and he will be paired up with Alderweireld. Then you have Højbjerg as your cleaning Mr. Cleaner. He cleans everything. So far, fantastic buy. And then you have Ndombele ahead of him and Sissoko in the middle, between them, sort of sometimes going up, sometimes going down. And then you have on the left, of course, Son as your striker. You have Kane, and then Bale will be most likely the right wing. And you can interchange with Lucas Moura, sometimes playing either or, especially in the Europa League. And you can use Vinicius here and there. You can use Sanchez maybe in some games. I just don't trust him. And it looks good. It looks really good. And Aurier can also be pushed forward. He can play also as your right winger in some games. So yeah, I'm positive. I think it's a really good team.
Yeah, it's a good team, and you got depth. Dele Alli wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah, I even didn't count him. I think he's gone. He's a dead man walking.
I got to congratulate Mourinho for not substituting his way to a loss. Like last week, he substituted his way into dropping 2 points. This week, he actually had Bale ready to go, thought about it, and then said no. And even in the press conference afterwards, he's talking about how he thought about the game substitution-wise. Because, like, listen, man, Burnley came out there and they put a body on Spurs. Like, you guys should be like in an ice bath right now, trying to get the aches and pains out of this team, because they just put elbows and bodies on you, and they got physical with you guys. But the mentality that Mourinho is trying to instill in you guys since all or nothing is like from last season seems to be like finally growing, and you guys did not get frustrated, and you stuck to your game plan as much as you could. He did not make any bad substitutions. And then Kane and Son, the goal was amazing because of where they were when the corner was taken, and then where they both moved to when the ball was in the air. And then it's just amazing. Like, Son was kind of at the top of the key and then moved beyond Kane towards the goal, and that's where Kane headed it.
So yeah, very well played set piece. You can tell it was practiced. You can tell it was rehearsed.
Yeah, you think it was rehearsed and practiced?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
The movement.
Yeah, maybe that explains it, because I was like, how did, like, I watched that play going, how did they know where each other would be? So that pretty much blew me away with that.
Yeah, and you could see in All or Nothing that Mourinho likes to practice certain things, certain situations. And I've been to his trainings before, especially with Man U when the trainings were at UCLA. I was looking at what he's doing. He likes to play some different scenarios. And listen, like it's not a coincidence that Harry Kane, in all his seasons, his best total of assists I think was 4, and right now he's got 8 already. So
Right,
he likes to play off him. I think he has. Yeah.
I told you this. I was like, how is Harry Kane going to accept being a false 9 and passing the Son? But he's accepting it, and I think he has as many goals as Son. So it doesn't.
No, only 5.
Only 5, and Son has what, 6?
I think at least 7 or 8. I'll have to check it out though.
Yeah, we gotta look it up. So Son is not doing. I mean, Kane ain't doing bad. He's getting his goals. So and England will always put him first. Like when he's on Spurs or playing for England, they're still gonna be like, Kane wants to be regarded as one of the top people in the world, and the media in England will always give him that credit. You know what I mean? They did it before he shouldn't have got it, and should have been considered that, and they're doing it now. So, but it's great ball and using your teammate, and Spurs are doing. And I believe in Spurs. I'm not afraid to say it. Like, you guys have a lot of potential to get far in this league. So we'll see.
So here's the list of the best scorers. So Son is the best scorer with 8. Then Calvert-Lewin is 7, Bamford 6, Salah 6, Vardy 6, Kane 5, and Zaha 5.
Right. Yeah. There's no Man U people on that list.
No Man U player on.
Not even
there
close.
Is on 13th. Number 13th is Bruno Fernandes with 3.
3. And Rashford must have 2.
Nobody else is in the first 20.
All right. So that's not good. We got to get our shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the season's early. We got a game in hand, and we'll see what's up. So that's the league. Let me just go to and then we'll go to Premier. We're just gonna see the table.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and to see who the marquee game is next week, and then we go run through this Champions League, and then your boy resigned from Barcelona.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Bartholomew, because he lost that confidence vote. But, up until yesterday, he was going to fight it, He was going to fight the results of the vote. But now he's like, all right, I give in. Yeah, okay, here it is. So who's got to play who next week? It's just a league of difficult games. There are no, this is going to be easy. Like, even if you're a top team, there's like 3 to 5 to maybe even 10 games in a season where you could be like, we'll just get, but now there's no easy games.
Yep.
Yeah, let me go to fixtures. Newcastle, like, everybody's a problem. Newcastle's a problem. Just everybody's a problem. So next week
starts on Friday. Wolves, Crystal Palace.
Yeah, on my thing, every time I put fixtures in, it just gives me only Arsenal's fixtures. Like, why is it doing that? I don't want to. Why is it? Does it think I'm an Arsenal fan?
I better not.
Yeah. So what are the top games do you see that are next week? Because I can't.
I would say there's Man U Arsenal is the number 1 game, and then there's no second. Liverpool West Ham maybe.
So what do you think about the Arsenal Man United result? What do you think that's going to be like?
I think you guys are not very good at home, so I would expect a draw or Arsenal winning.
I don't believe in this home stuff. Like, especially with an empty stadium, I don't believe in this home stuff. I just think it's how, like, we started the season, like, we ended the season fine. last season, but like we didn't lose any games in the Premier League. So that was home or away. So that didn't even matter. I feel it's not home that's affecting us. It's how we came into the season. We weren't ready, and now we're a readier team than we were in the beginning of the season. So it doesn't matter. It's not the games at home, it's how ready we are. As far as Arsenal, we can beat them, but they can also beat us. So when it comes to something like that, I usually just am resigned to like a tie. But I'm going to put my belief in Manchester United winning this, because there's a lot of different ways that Ali can win this, and he has options in the style of play based on the style of formation. And Arsenal has to figure out how is Man U going to start this game? Because we're not predictable anymore. Because we don't even know what we're going to do. You know what I mean? So I feel like Arsenal is way more easier to predict what they're going to do than we are. And for that, I'll give us the advantage.
Yeah,
and we can completely change how we start the game to how we finish it. So I'll say we have the advantage. But meanwhile, Arsenal, I know what they're going to do.
I'm not going to root for Arsenal. You know that I'm not that crazy. So I do think though they can win, but most likely a draw. I think will be a result. I'm not going to be surprised if you guys win, because I have no faith in Arsenal with this team they have right now. But it's kind of an overrated best game of the weekend, mainly based on the history of both teams, because both teams flop at the moment.
Yeah, but every team is flawed. Like Liverpool is flawed. Man City is definitely flawed. You keep going down. The only team that's not flawed, like, it's the Wolves. Chelsea's flawed.
And they played Burnley, but Burnley didn't start the season very well, and they don't have to lose to Chelsea, actually.
Yeah, they can. I think Burnley gave Chelsea trouble last year. So these are not gimme games. See who else is playing. Liverpool is playing West Ham. West Ham could cause trouble there. Man City, Sheffield United. So I'll just do this game. Leeds play Leicester. That's another big game to me. And Leeds just attacks you, but Leicester is cagey enough to counterattack. So that's a tough one too. There's just no easy games anymore for anybody.
Fulham, West Brom, one of these teams will be very unhappy. One of these teams will
That's a tough game for both of them, because they're both the teams that anybody could beat.
Listen, if Fulham doesn't win this game, I mean, they're not going to win any game.
Right. But West Brom played great last week. Yeah. So, we'll see. Let's go to this Champions League. Did you Bayern beat Lokomotiv? The Bayern were Bayern. Lokomotiv have really had chances and didn't put them away. And Bayern was sharp on two of theirs and put them away. And, Bayern looked dominant like Bayern. And Mönchengladbach versus Real Madrid. Mönchengladbach went up 2 goals on Real Madrid. The Real Madrid team that just won the Clasico and probably high from that.
With an American guy was scoring, actually, the only goal for Barca was scored by an American guy in El Clasico.
Which goal? Which was that?
Dest. He's American national team player. He scored a goal, really good goal for Barcelona in this game.
And in the Clasico?
Yeah.
Dest didn't score in El Clasico. I'm trying to think who. No, Fati scored in El Clasico.
Oh yeah, you're right. Fati scored, actually.
Yeah, Fati scored in El Clasico, but the best player on the field for Barcelona during El Clasico was Dest.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm like,
he didn't actually score. There was one situation when he should have scored. You're right.
Right.
Fati scored a goal. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Real Madrid won the El Clasico 3-1. But if you guys, go on any streaming service and watch that game, you'll see a player break out in this game, and his name is Dest, and he's American, and he did not look American. He looked like he was born in the same country as these dudes, and he played like it. So, like, it sounds crazy to say an American played better than Messi, but he
You know, it
did.
sounds less and less crazy lately. Messi looks disengaged. He looks like he doesn't want to be there anymore, and
Yeah.
he has some. He had some. I mean, he's still Messi, so he's got the mystique about him. But
Mhm.
if you take the name out of his jersey and you know, you ask someone who is not a soccer fan who just started watching soccer this year,
Right.
they wouldn't think that he's a top player.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. At the beginning of the season, I was like, you're playing with a hostage, and a hostage is never going to give you his best, even as much as he tries. And is that how Barcelona wants this? Like, should you have tried to brought your price down and got some money for him and bought some players with that money? Because it's the only way to make money during COVID. You know, you try to make oh no, you have a $700,000, $700 million buyout clause. Now he's like, I'm going to stay and finish this season. But every time I watch a Barcelona game, and I try to watch as many Barcelona games as I can now, because this might be the last season of Messi with Barcelona. And so I just want to see, I saw his beginning season, so I want to see his last season with Barcelona. And even when his teammates score and they need a goal, he's never smiling when he'll congratulate his teammate, but it ain't like having a party on the field with Xavi and Iniesta and Suarez, you know what I mean? And Neymar. Like, the joy is gone. And if you think that joy is not affecting how he plays for Real Madrid, you got a sad thing mistaken.
Yeah,
So,
it's the end of this team. Suarez left already. Pique and Busquets are not the same players when they're at the top. Messi doesn't want to be there. I mean, they're going through a transition right now, and they didn't buy that well. Now Coutinho is injured. I think he's out for a significant amount of time, right?
right.
So they're. I spoke with one of my friends who's a big Barca fan, and he said, I'm pretty sure we're not going to win a single trophy this season. And he's right. Most likely they won.
Yeah, they'd surprise me if they won something. Yeah, Messi's just not into it. And they he's playing hostage football. So we'll see. But Real Madrid went down 2-0 in Champions League to Mönchengladbach, and we're like, oh no, is this the Shakhtar Donetsk thing? Is like Real Madrid is in turmoil too. Like, they're in as much turmoil as Barcelona. Even though they won the league last year, you could tell when something's wrong. And that's the thing with intelligent football fans. Like, there's been years when Barcelona won trophies where the fans weren't happy. And the same thing with Real Madrid. And they were right to be. Like, even if Real Madrid might be able to fix their problem by the end of the year, but right now they have problems. Before El Clasico, they lost 2 games in a row. They stopped the losing skid by winning El Clasico. And in this game against Mönchengladbach, they went down 2-0. Then they had to claw it all the way back. Casemiro was involved in both goals, and but they pulled it back, and this draw feels like a win for them.
It does. They're a little bit clumsy at the beginning of the season. They also don't look like a team that can win the Champions League, possibly. Surprisingly, they didn't make a major buy, like a super big transfer, because they usually do at least one. And Hazard.
They don't have the money, right?
Yeah, but also I don't think the situation was that this team in particular, it's like it's their time. Like, it looks like Bayern is dominating European football. Then Liverpool is also close. City, they still have so much money. Paris Saint-Germain are up for winning something. So maybe maybe, just looking at the market, who they could have bought. They wouldn't buy Lewandowski because Lewandowski would rather start at Bayern. Same with Neymar. Neymar is in Paris, and I don't think he's leaving. So Mbappe, they say might go to Real Madrid, but he might go to Liverpool. So yeah, I mean, they would have to spend a lot of money for sure, because it's a strange team that they don't have this number one star right now. I think they thought that Hazard would be that number one star on the team. He has some good stuff there, but he's not playing at the level he played at Chelsea. I don't think so.
He's not playing at all. He's just laying on an injury table in the infirmary. He's not playing at all. Like he got in today's game, and they put Modric in, and then they got creative and started like breaching the Mönchengladbach defense, but he's not really out there, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an exciting game to see Real Madrid come back. Another exciting game to watch was Atletico Madrid versus Red Bull Salzburg. You know why today was a great game for Atletico Madrid? Because today was the coming out party for Joao Felix. Joao Felix scored 2 goals, and just the way he played today, I think it's a combination of like knowing that Suarez is there, knowing that what's the other guy, Diego Costa is there, and you're not just gonna waltz in here like
Correa.
So what?
Correa is still there, right?
Correa and what's his name? Lorente. It's like you have competition, and it's like he's like, I feel like he's realized finally, if I don't play and get some goals and score, they ain't gonna play me. This ain't like they just bought me for this money and they have to play me. Like I have to earn this. So he definitely was like, his pronouncement today, his announcement that I'm gonna be playing and I'm gonna look like I cost what they bought me for from now on. So that's what it felt like. So great game for Joao Felix. He scored 2 goals, including the winner. And it was towards the end of the game. It was pretty exciting. And he had a bicycle kick that hit the post in the middle of the game. So he was balling today. Liverpool versus, I don't even know how to pronounce this. What is this team they played today?
The Norwegian team.
What? Say it for me.
It's tough for me too. I mean, I'm not Norwegian. Midtjylland.
Yeah, what is this? I've never heard of this team before.
Oh no, it's a great story. It's a great story.
What's the story?
It's Danish. It's Danish, not Norwegian. My bad.
Okay.
Well, they constructed the team just like the guy the Moneyball guy. I mean, they were known as a first team, 100% constructed based on the same techniques and like a computer schemes used by the guy who was you remember the movie Moneyball, right?
Yeah, in baseball.
In baseball, yeah. So they did that soccer version of it.
Oh, and then did they win the Danish league?
They did win Danish league at some point, I think. Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, they didn't beat Liverpool today, and Liverpool kind of was disrespectful. It's kind of part disrespect and part Klopp trying to rest his starting players. Like he did not start. I don't think he started Mane and Salah, and at some point in the game he had to put them on the field, and then Fabinho got injured, like I said. So he's like, all right, let's defend by attacking in the front and get the points, which they did. And Salah got fouled and earned a penalty and put it in the net. But Liverpool won that game, and. Ajax versus Atalanta. That was a pretty exciting game. Ajax went up 2-0, but Atalanta is like, hey man, we are scoring freaks. You cannot stop us from scoring. And I see that you had a guy, Ajax, with dreads, Traore, who scored on us. So we got a guy with dreads who's going to score 2 on you and equalize. And that's what they did. So that was a pretty dope down to the wire game, And Inter versus Shakhtar 0-0. Lukaku hit the post. Another player, Barella, hit the post, but Inter could not get in between the posts. So that ended 0-0. And Porto beat Olympiacos 2-0. And what do you think about your boy Quinton? Bartomeu resigns. What do you think?
Well, past due. Should have done it earlier. He should have respected Messi's wish and moved on. They're not getting anything except of maybe, I don't know, sponsorship money for having Messi another year. Because I think if they moved on, I started to rebuild right after selling him and getting some money in. They could have bought some other star. They could have just splashed money on some other big star. I don't know, Salah, for example. You know, someone who would cost a lot of money and would replace Messi in this role, in this particular role. He missed that opportunity, and he didn't handle the situation very well. And well, it is what it is. It's a mess.
All right. Just to jump out of that topic for a second, Digne's ban for the red card was reduced to 1 game. So Everton's going to get him back. Like Carlo Ancelotti said he would appeal, and he did, and they got it down to 1 game. And you were just telling me about the president retiring. Like he got elected. His election was shady because he was related or has a close friendship with the president before, who kind of did some shady shit. Now he's accused of some shady shit. They got the 20,000 votes, and he said up to yesterday that he wasn't going to retire or quit. And thank God he did. And hopefully this will open the door for a new regime that knows what they're doing. Like Messi's whole point is that there's been no plan, there's been no project, and he's been thinking about leaving. And now him, Koeman, Trincao, Pedri, and all these new players, there's potential there, but it's a skeleton of a team. Not you'd expect Barcelona to have more. So they're definitely in a rebuilding period.
Yeah, and they should have moved on from Messi a year ago and just cash in. Now he'll work for free, and they could have gotten some good money from Messi to let him go a year before. I would say Man City would probably pay 100 million. They probably would have.
Right.
Not 800, but they would have pay 100 million. And now you keep Messi for the 100. There's a bad stand coming out of your camp, and fans are not happy. Media are bashing you constantly. The team is in disarray. They missed that opportunity. Like, for example, and I'm gonna praise Levy for that. He saw first cracks under Pochettino. He could have finished the season with Pochettino and see what happens, but he reacted and he brought Mourinho. It took Mourinho a few months to figure it out, but right now it looks like we're back in hunt. So sometimes you have to react sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I say they could have gotten 200 million for Messi. 200 million could have bought you some players, some good players in COVID.
At least one. At least, like, let's say, splash it for Salah, 150 or whatever.
Yeah. But, because you have a Messi who's probably better than he's playing right now, but he's not playing as good as he could because he doesn't want to be there. And you could get a player that wants to be there, that knows he's at Barcelona and has never won the things that Messi's won at Barcelona and wants to try to achieve that so that he's accepted. So yeah, they fucked up trying to keep a hostage. It's just like all the wrong moves. It's better to have the cash, but it also, you don't want that regime to have $200 million to spend, because apparently they don't know how to spend it. So, yeah.
Yes, sir.
It wouldn't help. All right, so anything else you want to talk about? We covered everything. We covered all the games. We covered Champions League. There's Champions League games tomorrow. We have Juventus, Barcelona. That's the big game. Who you got on that?
Juventus.
Oh yeah.
Better team.
Better team. Yeah. Better team.
By the way, there was a stat I saw that Messi didn't score a single goal in El Clasico and didn't have a single assist since Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid for Juventus, which is now over 2 years.
Oh yeah. So you think Cristiano Ronaldo leaving hurt him?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Motivational wise, sure.
Yeah. Man United, we play Leipzig tomorrow. I don't know how this is going to go. I hope it goes in our favor. But Leipzig, on paper, better team than Man U. More creativity, just everything. Like on paper, when I look at their team, well, this is Leipzig, not Dortmund. I'm confusing Leipzig with Leipzig is beautiful, is beatable, but
they beat us in the Champions League last season.
Right. Did they beat you with Werner?
Yep.
Yeah.
Werner scored the winning goal at White Hart Lane. Yeah. The last game we played with fans was the game against Leipzig.
Right. I mean, Leipzig is still doing good in the league, but listen, I wish I could say I trust Man U every week, but I don't. So we beat PSG. We tied with Chelsea. We'll give them a decent battle and we'll see how it goes. Like I can't even tell you this is going to be a win. Dortmund is going to play Zenit St. Petersburg. Put my money on Dortmund. Chelsea plays Krasnodar. I don't know where that is. Where is that?
Russian team.
Russian team? Oh, okay. All right, so we'll see what happens in Champions League tomorrow, y'all. Martin, you have anything to plug? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, 442. I spoke with Gonzalo Higuain last week and said that he's in Miami, joined by his brother. As a matter of fact, they traded for his brother, who is in the MLS for the last 8 years.
Yeah, his brother been in MLS for a long time.
Yeah, long time. I had a very good career too. You can make a case that he's one of the 20, 30 best players of all time in the Major League Soccer, and they didn't play together since he was a kid. Since he was a kid at River Plate, I believe. So they finally are together in Inter Miami. It's a good project too. It's funny because I checked and I actually asked him about it. That he played his first season at Real Madrid was 2006, 2007, and for 7 months he played with David Beckham, and that was David Beckham's last season for Real Madrid, and they won together the title, I think.
Right, they did.
And then now David Beckham is the club owner he plays for, so it's an interesting dynamic because he was a veteran of the team where Higuain as a teenager started playing, and now he's still playing where Beckham is his boss.
Right. Yeah. And I remember watching them win that final, that La Liga championship. And I thought highly of Higuain then, like he was like just about it, you know what I mean? Like he wanted it really bad. So I just always had great hopes for his future. And he's had a good career, but I guess why not end it with someone you started it with?
Yeah.
Like with his brother and Beckham. So, we'll see. Anything else?
No, still waiting to get back to work at some point. Had some close calls lately, so hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah. When is election? This week, Tuesday? Next week, Tuesday, right? All right, so everybody, keep a lid on it. Just go out and vote. And wherever this thing lands, it just lands. And then we all do our individual best to make our own lives better and to make this country better. And that is the deal. You know what I mean? And it starts with voting. That's all I got to say. Look up all the props in advance. This shit is like, if you haven't taken a test in a long time, voting is really like taking a test. Like you got to research the answers. There's a lot of trick questions. So take the whole day, take the week, start voting from now. You know what I mean? Take 3 days to vote. Do what you got to do, because It's not easy, but you know, you have the responsibility to make your life better. So do it. I want to thank Aaron Brungardt again, producer, putting this all together. Thank everybody that listens. Tell people, spread this around. And my name is Ian Edwards. Follow me on Instagram at Ian Edwards Comic. And I'm out. One. Thanks, Martin.